Hello everyone and welcome back to Age of Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. And in this video we're going to be continuing with the Age of Sigmar Army Archive, and we're going to be going back to the Gloomspite Gitz. So this is part of the running series I'm doing for the Gloomspite Gitz, and now that we've looked at the allegiance abilities for them and the lore, we're now going to go into the unit war scrolls. So I think it's only really fitting to start with the Moonclan, as how I want to do the, like I say, the army videos for the Gloomspite Gitz. I want to do the trolls separately, the spiders separately, and then the Moonclan GROTs separately. Basically, I think it'd be a nice way to do it. However, going through their war scrolls for the Moonclan alone, how I usually do the videos, I usually do all their units in one video, and then I do their heroes in another. However, if I was to do that with the Moonclan GROTs, that would be 15 units to review in the units video, and I think that's just a tad too many to review all in one video, because the video will be probably an hour and a half, 2 hours long. And let me know, guys, if you like this sort of videos, the really long ones, but I personally feel like you guys prefer like half an hour videos. Am I right? You can let me know down below. It's be interesting to hear, but because I think you prefer like more smaller videos than a really massive long video, which just could be a slog to get through. I don't know how you guys think about them, but so with this I'm going to review the squig separately in one video, or basically everything with a keyword squig in it is going to be reviewed in one video apart from heroes and stuff. And then I'm going to be reviewing the Moonclan GROT sort of units in this video. When I say Moonclan GROTs, I just mean like sort of the GROT units, so you know, like the stabbers, the shooters, the fanatics, those sort of things. And that's what are going to be reviewed in this video. So that will be the shooters, stabbers, the Loon smasher fanatics, I think they're called, the spore splatter fanatics, the sneaky snufflers, and what I believe is the Warhammer Underworlds warband, the Zabag Gitz. So they will be reviewed in this video, and then what I'll do is I don't know if this will be the order, but I'll do a squig one, and then I'll do a sort of a shaman one, because I've noticed a lot of the shamans, I think they are, within the Gloomspite Gitz, they're not heroes, so they should have their own separate video in my opinion. And then I'll do a hero video for the Moonclan, and then after that I'll then go on to the trolls and the spiders. To me, that sounds like a plan. Let me know, guys, if you'd rather me do it differently, and we can have a discussion down in the comments or on Discord or whatever. But anyway, guys, so with all the pre-video stuff aside, let's get into it. And I think we should start with the basics. So why not start with the stabbers? So the stabbers are going to cost you not too much, as you can expect, as they are basically the basic of the basic for the Moonclan GROTs, and indeed sort of really the Gloomspite as a whole. As the stabbers are going to cost you 130 points for 20, because that's 20 is the minimum size you can have. The maximum size you can have is 60, and that will cost you 360 points. So there's a bit of a discount there. You're saving 30 points, aren't you? So it's not too bad. And they are battle line for your Gloomspites, so it's something very important there. And they're not just battle line for your Gloomspites, they're battle line for generic destruction as well. Right, so stabbers, I'll say it first off, we're not expecting too much, so let's see what we can get, because like I said, they are 20 models for 130 points. There's not many things that are cheaper than that in the game. There are things, sure, what are like 60 points for 10 and stuff, but these guys are pretty cheap. So what are we going to get? So looking at the description first, is a unit of stabbers has any number of models. The unit is armed with one of the following weapon options: a poking spear and a moon shield, or a stabber and moon shield. Up to 3 in every 20 models can replace the unit's weapon option with a barbed net. Okay, so firstly, when it says any number of models can be in this unit, that's for open player now to play. I always review everything as if it's match play. So remember, you need a minimum size of 20 for that. And then looking at their will stats, we've got a 5-inch movement, a 6+ save, and bravery 4, and 1 wound. Okay, 5-inch movement, I mean, it could be worse, could be 4, could be like dispossessed, couldn't it? So yeah, 5-inch movement is not fantastic. A 6+ save, now I think something we should look at is they've got a save. That's important, take what you've got. Bravery 4 makes you sort of shudder a little bit. It's like, especially with all the terrorgeists and stuff knocking around and crit flares. And then 1 wound, we expect 1 wound. So not the best will stats, but these guys are very cheap. Now going into the melee weapons, so There are 3 types, of course, as it was described in the description. So the first one is the Stabber. It's got a 1-inch range, 1 attack, force hit, force wound, no render, 1 damage. And the Stabber, just in case you guys are wondering, that's just the sword basically for them. That's not too bad. No 5s to hit or 5s to wound, so yeah, that's alright. The Poking Spear, it's got a 2-inch range, 1 attack, 5s to hit, force to wound, no rend, and 1 damage. So it's got a 5 to hit, but it's got an extra inch range on its weapons, which I think makes it better than the 4+ to hit for the Stabber personally. And there's a sort of similar thing you see with the Skeleton Warriors. You know, you've got the swords that hit on a 4 and you've got the spears that hit on a 5, but with the spears you can get more in. And then we've got the Barbed Net. So this is a 2-inch range, 3 attacks, 4 to hit, 5 to wound, no render, 1 damage. I'm going to say straight away that's the best one. As we'll see, there's an ability for it later on, but remember you can only have 3 of these guys in every 20. So the maximum you can have in a unit, if you take a big unit of 60, is 9 of these guys, which is still quite a lot. And then going into the abilities, we've got the Moonclan boss. So the leader of this unit is a Moonclan boss. You can add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by a Moonclan boss. Okay, so I would rather just be an extra attack, just so much easier to remember, as I always say. But +1 to hit, yeah, it's good, isn't it? I would make this one of the people with the nets. Can you do that? I think we'll find out later on when we read through the War Scroll. But if you can, yeah, definitely make it the guy with the net. The next one, we've got a Gong Basher. So 1 in every 20 models in this unit can be a Gong Basher. Add 2 to the run rolls for a unit that includes any Gong Bashers. That's really good, because if you want to make these guys run and make them run maximum with the command point, you can make these guys run 6 inches, which makes these guys move 11, and then the +2 to it means these guys move 13, and that makes them incredibly fast. Right, okay, the next one is the Standard Bearer. So 1 in every 20 models in this unit can either be a Moonclan flag bearer or a Bad Moon icon bearer. Add 1 to the brave characteristics of a unit that includes any Moonclan flag bearers. Add 2 to the save rolls for attacks made with missile weapons that target a unit that includes any Bad Moon icon bearers. Okay, so firstly, 1 in every 20, yeah, so that is new. They don't usually specify that, so 1 in every 20 is something definitely to bear in mind. But, you know, if you're taking a big unit of these guys, obviously have both in there. But, you know, if you've only got 20, what's important, the bravery or the icon bear? I would say go for the Bad Moon icon bear, just to make your life easier when you get shot to pieces by the enemy. Yeah, I'd say if you had to pick one, that would be my favourite. Right, okay, and then going into the rest of the abilities, so we've got Backstabbing Mob, which is add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by this unit while it has at least 15 models. Add 2 to the wound rolls made with melee weapons by this unit instead while it has at least 30 models. Okay, so that's pretty good, because if you take, especially if you're taking a big unit of 60, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to weaken down to get only 15 models left, especially if we're spending like command points to make these guys inspiring presence, and these guys become quite hard to deal with. You know, to shift them from objectives, especially a big block of 60. And you can add 2 to wound rolls. You know, you need 30 more models, but it's not too hard to do, especially, you know, earlier game. So if you're taking even taking the Poking Spears, yeah, only making 1 attack, but you've got a 2-inch range, yeah, you need a 5 to hit, but then you're wounding on a 2, which is really good. Right, okay, then the next thing is Moon Shield. So add 1 to the save rolls for attacks that target this unit while it has at least 10 models with Moon Shields. Okay, so what that means, firstly, if the enemy's shooting you, you're going to be adding 2 to your save characteristic if you've got the Bad Moon icon, as that ability I mentioned earlier from the Standard Bearers. So that means that you've got a 4-up save. A 4-up save. That's really good. And yeah, you need to have a, you know, at least 10 models in the unit, and that's only against shooting. But even in combat, you're getting +1 to your save, so you've got a 5-up save unless the enemy's chucking render you. You've got a Mystic Shield on them, let's say, rerolling ones. And it's just another reason why to take big units of them, unless you just want them for like battle line purposes and you just want to take the smallest unit possible. Yeah, but I think a unit of 6 of these guys could be that's what you're going for, or just a unit of 40 maybe would be very good. And then the next one is Netters. So subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy models while they are within 2 inches of any friendly models with a barbed net. So like I say, you've got a big unit of these guys, you got the Moon Shields, you're making the enemy -1 to hit you as well, so the enemy's -1 to hit you and you add 1 to your save, which makes these guys pretty survivable, especially where, oh, you've taken some casualties, right, just inspiring presence to them. and then they're not running in fear for their little lives. So yes, they can be pretty survivable. I do like that. And then their keywords, they've got Destruction, GROT, Gloomspite Gitz, Moonclan and Stabbers. So not bad for something that I thought was not going to be particularly good, if I'm honest. So yeah, not bad. A basic infantry for your Moonclan or indeed your Gloomspites there. Right, okay, so looking into the next one. So obviously we're going to take it up a notch, and this is going to be with shooters, which are basically exactly the same what we just looked at, but they've got bows instead. So shooters, they come minimum size units of 20, and that costs you 130 points. You can have a maximum size unit of 60, and they get no Legion discount, and they are a battle line as their role on the battlefield. And this is generic destruction battle line, and indeed, you know, obviously your Gloomspite Gitz. So what are we going to look at first? Let's have a look at the description, because like we say, there's a few special models and stuff you can have in the unit. So it's this description: a unit of shooters has any number of models, each armed with a Moonclan bow and slitter. Up to 3 in every 20 models can replace their Moonclan bow and slitter with a barbed net. Okay, so these guys have nets as well. That's pretty cool. So they've got a 5-inch movement, a 6+ save, a bravery 4 and 1 wound, so exactly the same as we saw before. And looking at their weapons, so they've got 1 missile weapon, which is the Moonclan bow, with 16-inch range, 1 attack, 5 hit, 5 wound, no rend, and 1 damage. Pretty poor to hit into wound characteristics. You know, it could be worse, and these are goblin short bows, so I don't really know what you can expect, really, can you? So yeah, fair enough. And short range, but anyway, let's move on. So we've got the melee weapons, which is the slitter, which is 1-inch range, 1 attacks, 5 hit, 5 wound, no rend, and 1 damage. And then we've got the barbed net, which is a 2-inch range, 3 attacks, 4 hit, 5 wound, no rend, and 1 damage. So the same as what we saw before. And then looking at their abilities, so starting the Moonclan boss again, we've got the leader of the unit of the Moonclan boss. You can add 1 to the hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by a Moonclan boss. So that means that, yeah, you'll be hitting on 4s with your slitter, or 3s with your barbed net. Just let me know, guys, if you can't give the barbed net to the Moonclan boss, because if you can't, fair enough, but if you can, it's just like, why wouldn't you? So yeah, fair enough. If you can do that, it's definitely the best thing to do. We've got the Gong Basher, which is 1 in every 20 models. You can have a Gong Basher, add 2 to the run rolls for a unit that includes a Gong Basher, so the same as what we saw before. And the Standard Bearers are the same as what we saw for the Stabbers. So I'll just quickly remind you, so basically 1 in every 20 can have the flag that adds 1 to your bravery, or you can have the icon that adds 1 to your save roll against missile weapons. Right, then moving on to the rest of the abilities, we've got Backstabbing Mob, and this is exactly the same as what we saw for the Stabbers, which basically gives you add 1 to your wound rolls if you've got 15 models in the unit, or add 2 if you've got 2 wound rolls if you've got 30 more models in the unit. To me, that, and this is for melee weapons as well. So for me, it's like, is that a typo? Is that meant to be like that? I presume it is. I presume it is, guys. So it makes these guys a bit, or it makes them better in combat, but it's like, these guys are meant to be shooting the enemy. If you want the combat ones, take the Stabbers. So I'm a bit unsure about that. But yeah, it's short range, so these guys will be quite close to the enemy, I suppose. But anyway, looking at a Moonclan bow, so add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with missile weapons by this unit while it has at least 15 models. Yeah, that's good. That means that you're now hitting on a 4 opposed to a 5. Will make a big difference, especially if you're chucking just like, well, 60 attacks to the enemy, 60 dice. Yeah, definitely make a difference. And then lastly, we've got Netters, which is the same before, which is -1 to hit rolls for attacks made by enemy models while they're within 2 inches of any friendly models with a barbed net. So I think just main thing to remember there with the barbed net is, remember it's 2 inches and not 3 inches, which quite a few abilities are. And also, that only affects models, not units. And then going on to the keywords, we've got Destruction, GROT, Gloomspite Gitz, Moonclan, and Shooters. So pretty standard there, but yeah, not bad. I'm just thinking, like, what's better, them or the Stabbers? I'd probably go with the Stabbers, to be honest, because there's more discount with them. And they're just better in combat. Well, yeah, I know you can chuck a lot of shots out of the Shooters, but they're not as good in combat. The range on their bows is very short, which would be expected from the, you know, goblin short bows, of course, or the Moonclan bow, as it's called. However, chucking 60 shots at your enemy within 16 inches, I know that's not that far, but it's still a fairly big. It's not like 12 inches, is it? So it's going to be outside of the charge range for. I know there's things that can charge more than 12, but you know what I mean. It's still going to be useful, I think. Let me know down below in your comments. I'm sure you guys who play Gloomspite Gitz, you're going to know which is better, the Stabbers or the Shooters, more than I do. So it'll be great to hear your thoughts on that. Right, okay, then moving on to something a bit more interesting. This is going to be the Fanatics. And we're going to firstly start with the Loon Smasher Fanatics. Now these guys are going to cost you 140 points for 5 models, and you can take a maximum size unit of 15. And there's no Legion discount, anything like that. They're not battle line, I think, so they'll count as other units. So fairly expensive, you know, for how many wounds they are and stuff. Obviously we'll get into all that sort of thing in a moment. So we're going to go into their description now for the Loon Smashers. So to start with, they are a unit of Loon Smashers. Fanatics can have any number of models, and each is armed with a ball and chain. Okay, so when it says any number of models, of course that's for open player narrative purposes. In match play, a minimum size unit of 5 is required. So looking at a wheel stat, they have a 2d6 movement, a 6+ save, bravery 10, and 1 wound. So there's not many things in this army that have got bravery 10, shall we say. So bravery 10 for them is very good. Now I have no doubt that this is purely down because they're pissed out of their minds on mushroom juice. However, it is still good. The other stats though are like, well, the other wheel stats, 6+ save, 2d6 movement, 1 wound, not good. Especially how many points these guys cost. But of course, we're going to go into why they cost that many points. So looking at their melee weapons, so the ball and chain has got a 1-inch range, D6 attacks, force to hit, 3 to win, -2 rend, D3 damage. So first thing to say with this, and that's quite a few things in this army have got it, very, very incredibly swingy. It could do insane damage, like D6 attacks, right, yeah, if you just think of like 6 attacks straight away, force to hit, 3 to win, -2 rend, D3 damage, that's insane. However, you could only make 1 attack with these guys. And they've only got a 1-inch range, what I think is weird. I think it should be 2 inches. But anyway, so yeah, very swingy attack, can be devastating. And then going into their abilities, so we've got Release the Fanatic. So this is the main ability for the Fanatic. So let's see what it does. So when you select this unit to be part of your army, you must pick a 1 friendly unit of Moonclan GROTs that has at least 5 models and is already part of your army as the unit that this unit is with. Record this information on a piece of paper. Do not set up this unit until it is released as described below. A unit cannot be with more than 1 unit of Fanatics. At the start of your charge phase, you can release this unit. If you do so, set up this unit wholly within 3 inches of the unit it was with and more than 3 inches from any enemy units. If this unit was released in your charge phase, it can attempt to make a charge move in that phase unless the unit was with has any restrictions that would stop it from attempting to charge, if it ran, for example. If it was released in the enemy charge phase, it cannot attempt to make a charge move. This unit is destroyed if the unit it is within is destroyed before this unit is released. Okay, so quite a bit of information there, but just digest it. So essentially you can have a 1 Loon Smasher of Fanatic units. You can be put into a Moonclan unit with 5 or more models. And then it can basically try and charge the enemy in the charge phase. It's like a sneaky thing, isn't it? The enemy doesn't know what unit has got it because you don't have to say. Bear in mind, it only says 1 unit you can put into a Moonclan GROT unit. However, 1 unit can have 15 Fanatics in it. So just remember that. So that's not really a problem. And if you really want to take loads of Fanatics, then you can obviously take well, loads of Fanatics and put them in loads of Moonclan units if you really want to do that. Could be a lot of fun. So yeah, that is the main rule with these Fanatics, and it's just a surprise attack, which is really cool. Right, and then the next ability is called Splat. So if the charge roll for this unit is a double after the charge move or after the charge fails, this unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and each other unit within 1 inch of this unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay, so it's nice that other units suffer mortal wounds, because I think before it was just you suffer mortal wounds, and also just being a double, you know, there's a decent chance of that happening, of course, and taking 1 more wound just means one of the models die. So very, very swingy, but you know, just bear that in mind, especially if they fail the charge, then that means they're not moving, which means the unit they try to charge from, your unit, it's going to take more wounds. Or then again, they don't have to, because you can set up within 3 inches of your friendly unit, not within 1 inch, so you could work around that. Okay, and then the last ability is called Whirling Death. So this unit fights at the start of the combat phase before the players pick any other units to fight in that combat phase. This unit cannot fight again in the combat phase unless an ability or spell allows it to fight more than once. Okay, so this is good because these guys are not the definition of glass cannon, because they have actually got a 6-up save, but like I said, huge damage potential, but they cannot take damage in the slightest. If you chuck -1, if you chuck 5 attacks at a unit of 5 of these guys, and you get all your hits and wounds, and you've got -1 to your rend, these guys don't get a save, and that just means that the Moonclan GROT player or the Gloomspite GROT player has just lost a 140 point unit, just like that, just from 5 attacks with -1 rend. You know, from like basically what a Ghoul King on foot has, basically 6, so he's even got a better chance. It just shows how much of a glass cannon these guys are, so it's really important that you get to fight first, and that's really good that's in there. If they didn't have that rule, it would make these guys not really worth taking, in my honest opinion. And yeah, to be honest, because even if you didn't set them up within a unit, the enemy just shoot them off the board. So yes, that's a really, really important rule. Bear in mind though, if you play against a Flesh-Eater Court player with his whole piling attack you, the Zombie Dragon ability, your Terrorgrass ability, if you play against a Deepkin player, in their turn 3, they will be able to attack you first. I know it says that differently here, but on turn 3 they'll be able to do it in their turn, but on your turn 3, you'll be able to attack them first, even though they have their Ties of Death, is it called, ability. So yes, that is a very good ability. And then looking at the keywords, we've got Destruction, Gloomspite Gitz, Moonclan, Fanatic, and Loon Smasher. So very standard there. But obviously the most important one probably here is Moonclan, for it to benefit from the other synergies. Right, okay, so sticking on the Fanatic theme, of course, we have got the new variation of Fanatics, which weren't really around, well, I say really, they weren't around at all before the Gloomspite book came out. They were very much, well, they weren't a thing. You just had the Fanatics, and they played a little bit differently, of course, but now you have got what are called the Spore Splatter Fanatics. So a little bit of an interesting twist in the standard Fanatics. Instead of wielding massive balls and chains of spikes and stuff, they are actually just basically flung around fungus and all the nasty necessities that brings. And basically, they're going to cost you 120 points for 5 models, because 5 models is the minimum you can have. Maximum you can have is 15, and there's no Legion discount. So they are 20 points cheaper than the standard Fanatics, and they are not a battle line or anything, they're just other units. So let's have a look to see the description first. So it says, a unit of Spore Splatter Fanatics can have any number of models, each armed with a spore, ball and chain. So, yeah, it says any number of models in the unit, but you know for match play purposes it's need at least 5, which is what you get in a box, so it's okay. Okay, so they've got a 2d6 movement, a 6+ save, bravery 10 and 1 wound, so the same as we saw for the other Fanatics, so everything pretty bad apart from the 10 bravery, and to be fair, the 2d6 movement's alright, isn't it? It's pretty good. Right, okay then, going into their melee weapons, they've only got 1, so it's got a 1-inch range, D3 attacks, freeze to hit, force a wound, martial rend, and D3 damage, so not as good as the ball and chains from the other Fanatics. However, their to hit characteristic is better, but the to wound one is worse, and it's only -1 rend, and it's only D3 damage. Yeah, so their attacks are not as powerful as the ones for the Loon Smasher Fanatics. But, you know, these guys have a different purpose, as we'll get to. So, looking at the abilities, they have got Pushroom Frenzy. So, at the start of your hero phase, friendly Moonclan GROTs that are wholly within 12 inches of any friendly unit with this ability become frenzied. Until your next hero phase, add 1 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons used by frenzy units. Okay, so just to let you know, I mean, there's lots of things that Moonclan GROTs come into. You know, it's going to benefit your manga squig, and benefit everything else, but also it's going to benefit things like your stabbers and your shooters and stuff. Well, your shooters not too much, but your stabbers. Remember, like I said, I'll be good if they had more attacks. Now it's an extra way to give them more attacks, and it's pretty easy to do. Hold you in 12 inches, yeah, but you can do it. I know of a big block of 60 is hard, but you should be able to manage that anyway. And then the next ability is Spore Cloud. So models are not visible to each other if an imaginary straight line 1 mm wide drawn between the closest point of the 2 models crosses over this unit or passes within 1 inch of this unit. If this ability does not apply if either of the models the line is drawn between is a model from this unit or a model that can fly or monster. Okay, so you're not playing against flying and monster armies or units. This is quite good because you're basically just blocking the line of sight, so you're ruining the enemy shooting. And for artillery and stuff, most artillery doesn't fly. I'm sure there's probably an example out there where there is a flying artillery piece. I don't want to say there isn't, like the gyro bombers and stuff, are they flying artillery? So it's like, it is quite important. It's important to remember that. And also, monster won't matter, so if a Nagash tries to scream you, you know, it's still going to do it. But you're just blocking line of sight, which is really, really nice. Which is cool. Obviously, there's things, makes things like catapults and stuff more useful. So if you had a long line of these guys, could be good. Especially 120 points. These guys, you know, they're not cheap, but you could probably fit them in a list, which is nice to protect your characters and stuff. Right, and then the next ability is Splat. So if the charge roll for this unit is a double, it's the same as the last one. So roll a double to charge. This unit takes a mortal wound, and then every other unit within 1 inch of it takes a D3 mortal wound. So it's the same as we saw for the Loon Smasher Fanatics. And then the next one is a Whirling Death, which is the same we saw for Loon Smasher Fanatics, which allows them to attack first in the combat phase. Right, and then looking at the keywords, we've got Destruction, Gloomspite Gitz, a Moonclan, and Fanatic, and then Spore Spatter. So I think a really quite fun unit. I think there's a purpose to it. Yes, they can't hide like the Loon Smashers. That is the difference, you know. Obviously, they can't hide, but they are supportive because they stop line of sight. And yeah, the enemy could just shoot them off the board and kill them, but it means the enemy's going to kill them rather than maybe something a bit more important that's behind them. So yeah, they are very fun, aren't they? Very swingy, but are fun. So then we have got the next unit, which is going to be, I think we'll look at Zarbag Gitz. Now, I don't know how good Zarbag Gitz are. They might not be worth taking in the game at all, like pretty much every other Shadespire warband. However, you know, it'll be nice to look at them, isn't it? I think, you know, it's their thing, isn't it? So Zarbag Gitz. So they have got 7 models. They are unique. These units must be taken as a set for the total of 160 points, although taken as a set, each is a separate unit. Okay, so you have to take them with a Zarbag. So I'll tell you what, we'll look at Zarbag as well, shall we? Okay, so firstly, looking at Zarbag, shall we? So Zarbag and Zarbag Gitz are going to cost you 160 points. Zarbag has got a 5-inch movement, he's got a 6+ save, he's got bravery 4, and he's got 5 wounds. His description is, Zarbag is a named character that is a single model. He is armed with a cursed sickle. So, his attacks, so the cursed sickle, it's got a 2-inch range, 3 attacks, 3 hit, 3 wound, -1 rend, 1 damage. I mean, not bad for a goblin, but he's a hero, so not particularly good. And then we've got the ability, so Sniffer Spite. So once per battle, before you attempt to cast a spell with this model, you can roll a dice on a 2+, add 2 to the casting roll. Okay, once per battle, that's pretty good. No negative effect to you, so yeah, I like that. And then magic, so this model is a wizard. It can attempt to cast 1 spell in your hero phase and attempt to unbind 1 spell in the enemy hero phase. It knows the Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, and Face of the Bad Moon spells. So Face of the Bad Moon. So Face of the Bad Moon has casting area 5. You successfully cast, pick 1 enemy unit within 3 inches off the caster. Okay, I already know where this is going. That is visible to them. That unit must make a move and must retreat if it is impossible for that unit to make the move. For any reason, it suffers D6 mortal wounds instead. Okay, so this guy, right, is a cheap wizard because, you know, he's 160 points and he comes with this little warband. And his spell is really good, you know. It is. It's better than the first shaman. What was it? The one that came out of Malign? Sorcery, what was his name? The Fungoid Cave Shaman. It's better than his, like, combat spell, if you like. But this is still a combat spell, isn't it? Still needs to be within 3 inches of the enemy. He's got a 6+ save and 5 wounds. He's not going to survive. But if he does, it's a good spell. So, yeah. If the enemy doesn't take this guy seriously, which I wouldn't, I'll be honest. I'd look at him and go, I don't care. I'm going to focus on attacking the other thing. And I'm in combat with you. It's going to be a problem. So, yeah. I mean, his spell is good. He's better than I thought it would be. Right, okay, and then looking at the keywords, so we've got Destruction, GROT, Gloomspite Gitz, Moonclan, Hero, Wizard, Madcap, Shaman, and Zarbag. So quite a few there. Right, okay, then looking at Zarbag Gitz, and remember, it's a total price cost of 160 points for Zarbag and his Gitz. So, looking at the description, so Zarbag Gitz is a unit that has 7 models. The Squig Herder is armed with a Squig Prodder. The 2 cave squigs, each armed with a massive gob full of teeth. The netter is armed with a slitter and carries a barbed net. And the 3 Moonclan shooters are each armed with a Moonclan bow and slitter. So, looking at their wheel stats, we've got a 5+ movement, 6+ save, bravery 4 and 1 wounds. Standard goblins, isn't it really? And then going into the weapons, we've got 1 missile weapon, so the Moonclan bow, 16-inch range, 1 attack, 5 hit, 5 swim, no rend and 1 damage. It's the same as we saw before for the shooters. And then the melee weapons, so we've got the massive gob full of teeth, so this is for the squigs. So 1-inch range, 2 attacks, 4 hit, 3 swim, -1 rend, 1 damage. Yeah, it's alright. I remember the squigs being D3 damage, how they used to be. But that's not the case anymore. So for squigs, yeah, that's standard really, isn't it? And then the next one is the squig prodder. So it's got a 2-inch range, 1 attack, 5 hit, 5 wound, no rend, 1 damage. Not good at all, in my opinion. Wounds on a 4, which is not bad, but it's 2-inch range, but yeah, still not very good. And then slitter, which is 1 attack, 1-inch range, 5 to hit, 5 wound, no rend, and 1 damage. That's the same as for the shooters there. Right, okay, then going into the ability. So firstly, we've got the Loon Smasher Fanatic. So a Loon Smasher Fanatic unit consisting of 1 model lurks with Zarbag's Gitz. Cool, so that's good, so you get that. And then we've got Squigs Go Wild. So roll a dice each time a cave squig model from this unit flees. Before the model is removed from play on a 4+, the nearest other unit within 6 inches of the fleeing model suffers a 1 mortal wound. If 2 or more units are equally close, you can pick which suffers the mortal wound. Cool, so you got a chance to do mortal wounds and stuff, haven't you, for if they take a battle test, because your bravery's 4, so it's not particularly good. Right, and then you've got a netter, so that's to subtract 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units while they are within 2 inches of any friendly models with a barbed net. So we've seen that before, yes, that's good. And then tough as old boots. So squig herder and cave squig models in this unit have a wound characteristic of 2. Okay, so it makes them a bit tougher. Right, so looking at them, 160 points. So we look at it as 80 points for the for Zarbag and 80 points for his Gitz. They're all right. I think there are better things to take. But if you want to take a fun narrative thing, yeah, you could do. I mean, his spell is quite... As soon as the enemy knows what it does, they're going to make sure you can never do it on him. But until that time, you might have a fun one game with these guys. You know, they are cool models anyway, aren't they? But yeah, I don't think they are the most competitive, shall we say. Right, okay, and then we are going to look at next the Sneaky Snufflers. So these are one of my favourite units for the Moonclan GROT and the Gloomspite Gitz indeed. I don't mean to say that they're the best in the game, but what I mean is they've got literally snuffer squigs. So squigs snuffing around like the dirt trying to find truffles or something. So absolutely lovely. Great models. I think they're really, really cool. Right, so let's see what we've got of the Sneaky Snufflers. So let's first have a look to see how many points they're going to cost you. Because obviously they are a squig unit. Interestingly though, they don't have the squig keyword. So that's like one of the reasons why I'm not going to review them in the squig video. Because they don't have the squig keyword, but they've got the Moonclan one. So they come in minimum-sized units of 5. They are 70 points for 5. Maximum units of 15. And they don't get a Legion discount. And they are other units for their role on the battlefield. No battle line, anything like that. So pretty cheap, cheaper than I thought they'd be. So let's see what they do. So the description: a unit of Sneaky Snufflers has any number of models, each armed with a Loon fungus sickle. So just bear that in mind, that in a match play, like I say, they've got to take a maximum size unit of 5. Right, and then it says Snuffle Squig. So each Sneaky Snuffler is accompanied by a snuffling squig that attacks with its gnashers. For rule purposes, they are treated in the same manner as a mount. Okay, so good they clarify that. So looking at the wheel stats, 5 minutes movement, 6+ save, bravery 4, 2 wounds. So sort of standard, but it's nice to see that 2 wounds are there because the squigs are a lot smaller, but it's nice to see that they are same. So that's good there. Right, and then going for their weapons, so the Loon fungus sickle, so 1-inch range, 1 attack, force hit, force wound, no rend, 1 damage. Yeah, that's good, better than a prodder, so yeah, I like that. And then the Nagash, so it's 1-inch range, 1 attack, force hit, force wound, no rend, and 1 damage. So exactly the same characteristics. So yeah, nice and simple. Yeah, I mean, like, it's, yeah, the Squig's attacks aren't that good, but it's a tiny Squig, isn't it? So what do you expect? And then going into the abilities, the first one we've got, and I say it's the first one, looks like the last one as well, it's called the Loon Cap and Mushrooms. So at the start of your movement phase, you can say that this unit is harvesting a moon cap mushrooms. If you do so, it cannot move in that movement phase, but you can roll a dice. If the roll is less or equal to the number of models in this unit, pick a one friendly Moonclan unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Add 1 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons used by that unit until your next movement phase. If you pick the same unit to be affected by this ability more than once in the same turn, it suffers 2d6 mortal wounds each time you pick an additional time. So I think what that means is basically don't pick it more than once, because it's quite simply not worth taking 2d6 mortal wounds for, unless it's an example where you can point out to me, because that is absolutely devastating. Yeah, you might only take 2 more wounds, but you could also take 12. So yes, I wouldn't do that. But an extra attack, it's just another way for your Moonclan units to get an extra attack. So this is how you can really buff your GROT units, can you? Your your stabbers. So you can make them have a lot of attacks. You can make your Fanatics have more attacks. You can make your like Squig Riders have sort of Squig Hoppers, whatever they're called these days, have extra attacks. Make your Manglers. There's a lot of things you can do with this. So yeah, I see these guys being, if I had an army, I'd put them in even just 5, 60, 70 points. As long as you haven't got like a really strict list you're going for, I think these guys could be very nice. And then the keywords, we've got Destruction, GROT, Gloomspite Gitz, and Moonclan, and Sneaky Snufflers. So I think that is going to be the last unit I review for this video, because we've done, what did we do? We did the Stabbers, did the Shooters, we did both the Fanatics, we've done Sneaky Snufflers, and we've also done Zarbag and Zarbag's Gitz. And something else to just point out with Zarbag and his Gitz, obviously it's unique for him, so he can't take it off as command traits, anything like that. And yes, so that'll be it for now. The next video will be maybe the Squigs, or it'll be something along the lines of the Shamans. Probably the Squigs, I think, fit it best for the next video in the series for the Gloomspite Gitz. That'll be the case. I think it's better doing it like this than putting it all into one video, because the video will be probably close to 2 hours. I mean, like, I've just reviewed some of the units here, and it's already gone on for what, nearly 40 minutes or time. So yes, and that was that. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's been a little bit of time since I made a video, but that's just because like work's just been busy, guys, so I haven't really had the chance to do it. And also the other thing is, with your comments and stuff you put on other videos, I haven't replied to them for a while. I think I've replied to them all now. Let me know if I haven't, and I'll go back and reply to it. But I think I replied to all your stuff, as I don't like to leave it unanswered, and I know I did that, so it's not very nice. But anyway, guys, so like I say, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, subscribe, and comment down below, as that does massively help the channel, and it's absolutely free for you guys to do so if you do enjoy the content. If you'd like to go the step further, I've now set up a Patreon account, which will be at the top of the description for this video. And it's basically a way for me to get some funding towards the channel without me putting any adverts on my stuff at all, which I don't want to do. And it really goes help to support the channel, and tends to me buying battle tones for armies I don't do, but armies you guys would like me to review. Things like trying to get a better microphone, stuff like that. Get some cameras, maybe, be awesome. And just generally for me to be able to justify putting the time I put into the channel. Be really good of you guys if you could do that. If you can't do that, I completely understand. But on that note, I would like to thank my 4 people who are a Vampire tier on Patreon. This is the second tier. These are people who donate at least $5 a month to me, and this is going to be to Max, Simon, Kyle, and Martin. So again, guys, for all those reasons, thank you very much for the donations, and it'll be great to see some of that investment go into the channel soon. As we little things like the Fire Slayer battle tone be a battle tone I buy, stuff like that. Cowden Overlords will be one. I guess I know you guys like that. Bone Splitters, maybe. All these different things. It will be good to see them for sure. So, guys, I thank you very much for watching this. If you do know a bit about Gloomspite Gitz, you've played them quite a little bit of time, or you fight against them, please put comments down below. Let us all know, inform us about good things, bad things about them, as we're all trying to learn here, of course, to be able to enjoy games a bit more. And on a separate note, guys, regarding my live hobby and chats and stuff, I have got a project announcement for those live videos, so stay tuned for the next live video I do, and there'll be a bit of a project I'll be working on. Will be a bit of an announcement. It'll be quite cool for you guys to see. But like I say, guys, I thank you very much for watching this video, and remember, until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.